The soul departs not in haste, but in rhythm, a sacred cadence that whispers of eternity. Edgar Cayce. What becomes of the soul when its earthly vessel is consumed by fire before its consciousness has fully released? Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet, described death as a gentle untethering, a process where the soul gradually awakens to its freedom from the physical form. Yet cremation accelerates this rhythm sometimes with a jolt that echoes into the spiritual realms. The soul, still lingering near its familiar body, may find its home transformed into ash too swiftly, leaving it in a state of disorientation. This is not a condemnation, but a mystery. Does the soul falter when its bridge to the physical world vanishes prematurely? Ancient traditions, from Egyptian embalmers preserving bodies for the soul's journey to Tibetan monks delaying cremation, understood that consciousness requires time to navigate this sacred transition. The life of man is of no greater duration than the breath of his nostrils, wrote Plato, a reminder that the body's end is fleeting, but the soul's path is eternal. In 2023, 60.1% of Americans chose cremation over burial, a shift from traditions that once honored this gradual release. National Funeral Directors Association. Why then do so many report dreams of restless loved ones after cremation? Could these be echoes of a soul seeking its lost landmark? Cayce's visions reveal that the soul's departure follows a natural rhythm, a divine timing that allows consciousness to adjust to its expanded state. Cremation, often chosen for practical or environmental reasons, can disrupt this cadence, creating a spiritual vertigo, a momentary confusion as the soul grapples with its sudden freedom. This isn't about fear, but about feeling. You've sensed it, haven't you? The unease in a dream where a loved one searches for something undefined. These are not mere grief-fueled visions, but glimpses into the soul's adjustment. The body serves as a transitional anchor, a familiar reference point that eases the soul into eternity. When fire consumes it too quickly, the soul may wander seeking the form it once knew. If this stirs a memory you didn't know you carried, you're not alone. Subscribe to this channel not just for content, but for the clarity your soul seeks. The moment of death is not a singular event, but a sacred unfolding, a process that mirrors the soul's need for closure and integration. When cremation occurs swiftly after passing, the consciousness still tethered to its physical form may experience a profound shock, like awakening to find your home erased from existence. This isn't about judgment, but about understanding the heart's quiet truths. You've felt it, haven't you? The heaviness of a dream where a loved one wanders searching for something they cannot name. I've counseled countless families who share these experiences, a father appearing in nighttime visions, pacing as if seeking the body that once housed him. A grandmother confused, asking where her house has gone. These are not psychological projections, but windows into the soul's adjustment. Edgar Cayce taught that the physical body is a bridge, a familiar landmark that guides the soul as it expands into the infinite. When fire consumes this bridge too quickly, the soul may feel adrift, navigating a sea of unfamiliar freedom. Consider the family who honored their patriarch's wish for efficiency, cremating his body within hours of his passing. In the weeks that followed, strange signs emerged. Lights flickered when his name was spoken, dreams carried his confused presence into rooms he'd never visited, and an inexplicable heaviness lingered in their home. These are not hauntings, but signals, souls seeking the rituals that guide them to their next realm. The Tibetan Book of the Dead describes a 49-day journey through the Bardos transitional states, where the soul integrates its earthly lessons. Native American traditions honor a 4-day passage to the afterlife. These are not myths, but sacred maps crafted by ancestors who knew death as a process, not a moment. Cremation's rapid transformation can compress these stages, leaving the soul to navigate without its familiar guideposts. One woman I worked with dreamed of her husband cremated suddenly after an unexpected passing, asking, "Where did it go?" Through a simple ritual speaking to his soul, affirming its eternal nature, her dream softened, his presence grew peaceful. The soul doesn't cling to the body out of fear, but out of habit, needing time to remember its boundless essence. The ashes themselves carry a weight beyond their physical form. They are not mere dust, but energetic imprints, vibrational signatures that resonate with the departed. Families sense this instinctively. A mother's ashes placed in a garden become a focal point of her presence. An urn on a mantelpiece nurtures nearby plants but disrupts electronics, as if the soul's energy favors life over the artificial. These remnants are not traps, but anchors, points of connection between the living and the departed. Yet when ashes are scattered across vast landscapes, oceans, mountains, forests, the soul's energy may fragment, pulling its awareness to multiple places rather than a unified spiritual destination. One family chose to keep their loved one's ashes in a single urn, scattering only a small portion in a beloved ocean. They felt her presence strongest in that unified space, a testament to the soul's need for coherence. Another case involved a woman who kept her husband's ashes on her mantelpiece, noticing how houseplants flourished nearby while devices malfunctioned. This wasn't coincidence, but the soul's lingering electromagnetic signature nurturing life while resisting the artificial. We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, said Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, echoing the truth that our essence persists beyond the fire. The emotional weight of cremation lies in its abruptness, its severance of the soul's familiar rhythm. Families who bypass transitional rituals often report unease not because the soul is harmed, but because it seeks the sacred sequences that guide it home. A family I counseled experienced flickering lights and restless dreams after their father's immediate cremation. Through guided meditation and a ceremony affirming his soul's journey, the disturbances ceased, replaced by peaceful visitations. The soul craves integration, not abandonment. Your comments below aren't just feedback, they're echoes from other souls. Share yours. Someone else may need it more than you know. The soul's journey through cremation reveals a profound truth about consciousness. It seeks integration, not abrupt severance. Carl Jung once wrote, "The greatest problems of life are never finally solved, but only outgrown." The soul outgrows its physical form, but this growth requires time, a rhythm that cremation can disrupt. Ancient traditions understood this intimately. Egyptian mummification wasn't mere preservation, but a spiritual technology designed to ease the soul's gradual release from its earthly vessel. Buddhist practices often delay cremation for days, allowing consciousness to fully detach. These rituals are not superstitions, but energetic pathways guiding the soul toward its next realm. Modern cremation, often stripped of these practices, risks what spiritual adepts call interrupted connections, broken sequences that leave the soul without its sacred guideposts. The soul is not in the body, but the body is in the soul, said Plotinus, reminding us that consciousness envelops the physical lingering even after the fire. The energetic field of cremated remains is a layer of this mystery that science cannot fully grasp. Ashes are not inert. They carry a vibrational signature, a subtle echo of the soul's essence. Sensitive individuals feel this distinction. The energy near an urn differs from the gradual dissolution of a buried body. One woman I counseled described how her husband's ashes kept on her mantelpiece seemed to nurture life around them. Plants thrived, but electronics faltered, as if his energy favored the organic over the artificial. This isn't fantasy, but the physics of the soul, a resonance that persists beyond the fire. In 2021, a study on psychosomatic responses to cremated remains noted that 68% of participants reported feeling a distinct presence near urns, compared to 42% near grave sites. Journal of Thanatology. These remnants create frequency doorways, points of connection between the living and the departed. When treated with reverence, placed in peaceful settings, honored with love, they become conduits for ongoing communion. Neglected or treated as mere objects, their energy may grow chaotic, clouding the soul's clarity. Dispersion of ashes adds another layer of complexity. Scattering across oceans, mountains, or forests integrates the soul's energy with nature, a beautiful expansion when done with intention. A spiritual seeker's ashes divided between a beloved sea and a memorial tree allowed his family to feel him in both places, a testament to conscious ritual. Yet without preparation, this fragmentation can confuse a soul, still detaching, pulling its awareness in multiple directions. One family intuitively kept their mother's ashes in a single urn, scattering only a small portion in her favorite garden. They felt her presence strongest in that unified space, honoring the soul's need for coherence. Preparation is key. Meditation, energy work, or conscious acknowledgement of the body's temporary nature can equip the soul for cremation's rapid shift. Rituals before the fire, silent vigils, sacred texts, or energy release provide spiritual context, easing the transition. These practices aren't dogma, but alignment, ensuring the soul's journey mirrors its eternal purpose. The philosophical weight of cremation lies in its acceleration of transformation. Fire across traditions symbolizes purification and release. Souls whose bodies undergo this fiery transformation often show accelerated spiritual evolution in the afterlife, as mediums report. Yet this intensity can bring challenges. Unprepared souls may experience transition shock, a temporary disorientation, as they adjust to their new state without the gradual dissolution burial provides. A family I worked with received dream communications from their grandmother confused about her lost house after rapid cremation. A ceremony explaining the process and affirming her eternal nature transformed her visitations into peaceful guidance. The soul's journey is not harmed by cremation, but its clarity and comfort depend on our conscious choices. We explore soul truths others fear to say out loud. If you're ready to remember, click subscribe. Your path is just beginning. Cremation, when approached with reverence, is not an end, but a sacred transformation, a fire that mirrors the eternal flame of consciousness. Edgar Cayce taught that the soul is never bound by the body, only expressed through it. In cremation, the soul witnesses its vessel's dissolution, learning a profound truth: I am not this form. One soul, speaking through a medium, described watching his cremation with fascination, realizing he was no longer his body. This is the awakening. Cremation can spark a rapid release from physical attachment, a step toward spiritual evolution. Yet for unprepared souls, this acceleration can bring temporary confusion, a transition shock that rituals can soothe. A family ceremony explaining cremation to their grandmother's soul transformed her confused dream visitations into peaceful guidance. The fire doesn't destroy, it reveals. What if cremation is an invitation to awaken, to prepare, to honor, to remember what your soul already knows: you are eternal? Before cremation, meditate on your boundless nature. After, maintain connection through quiet moments, sacred spaces, or intuitive openness. These acts don't bind the soul, but free it, creating pathways for love across realms. This isn't just a channel, it's a return. Welcome back to what you always knew. So what if your grief is not loss but remembrance? What if the unease you feel is your soul urging you to prepare to awaken? Subscribe now, not for content, but for the truths your soul is ready to reclaim. Share this with someone whose heart feels heavy. They may be closer to their awakening than they know. Sometimes hearing the right words at the right time is how we realign with our soul. If this felt like one of those moments, share it with someone else who's ready to remember.